In this video, we're going to take a look at model resolution and what this means for you when you're actually creating a model or machining. So I'm going to create a new model, and under resolution, I normally keep this for Carveco Maker at 2000 points by 2000 points, which is 2000 pixels squared. The reason being is it gives much nicer models, they're crisper and sharper, and you don't get any jagged edges. Now, if you're just using 2D and you're just machining 2D, this resolution isn't really going to affect you. The only time that it will affect you is when you do a simulation, and I'll explain that towards the end of the video so you can see it. What I tend to do is just crank this all the way up to the top because I've got quite a powerful computer. If your computer's a bit more low spec, then you may need to crank this down just a touch. So you have to trade off quality for performance. In Carveco Maker, you can't really create any 3D anyway. You can just import it into the software. So I'll show you the difference that it looks like if you do happen to be doing it at a really low resolution. So what I'm going to do is just bring it all the way down to 200 pixels by 200 pixels. So this is really, really low resolution. Now, this doesn't affect any 2D work, as I was saying, because that uses vectors. It doesn't use the pixels. So if I select OK, and you can see down the bottom right here, it gives me the resolution of the model. If you ever want to see this, let's say, for instance, I'm in the toolpaths options. If you just click on the name of the project here, so untitled for this one, and it will give you the model information below the splitter bar. So I can see that it's 200 by 200 pixels. Right, so let me import a grayscale image. So if I go to relief and import again, and I'll just use the Pegasus grayscale that I have. As you can see, this is absolutely huge at the moment, so I'll just change it so it's 9 inches and then press F9 to center that. And I'm not going to go into this, I'm just going to paste this down. So press enter on the keyboard and it pastes it down. Now, if I zoom in on this, you can see that it's really, really low resolution and it's pixelated. And this is all to do with this 200 by 200 pixel resolution, because in X across there, from this point to this point, there's 200 pixels. From that point to that point, there's 200 pixels. So to put this model in here, it has quite a small area to actually draw it, so it becomes blocky. It would be like creating a model on a small area of a TV screen, and then you zoom in and go really close up to look at the TV screen. It would be all pixelated. So here you can see it's not very good. Okay, so what you can't do now is change the resolution and it will then all be fine. It's already changed to this low quality. So what you would need to do is redo this. So let me just reset the relief by clicking there. So just this reset relief will just delete whatever's on that relief. Let's take a plan view. So I'm back to normal. And I'll show you how to adjust the resolution whilst you're actually in a model. So I don't want to set up a new model. If I come to model, the drop down, and then adjust resolution, and this will allow me to change the resolution. Now, to be quite honest, normally anywhere over 1500 pixels is absolutely fine for most jobs. Probably anything over 1000 is fine. So let me just crank this right the way up, because it doesn't really make much difference to myself because my computer can handle it. So if I select OK, it just gives me a warning that this cannot be undone. And am I sure that I want to continue? So yes. You'll see that the pixels changed down the bottom here. So it's telling me now that this is 2000 by 2000 pixels. So if I do that again, and you'll see the difference. So if I go to Relief, Import, Import again, let's find that Pegasus. Let's change the size to 9, center that in the model, and paste that down. So you can see the quality is a lot better. Now, I know that this area that's overlapping the edge needs sorting out, and I know that the model isn't great, but I'm going to sort that out by smoothing it and then trimming off the edge. But you can see just on this edge that I haven't got all of that pixelation that I had previously. Okay, and it looks a lot crisper. So once I smooth this out and take care of that edge that's going over, it should look okay. Now, another thing to consider is the simulation. So let's say that I reset that, and let's go back to a low resolution. So I've gone back to 200 pixels. Okay, so what I've done now is created 2 profile cuts, just on a rectangle and a circle. And I want to show you what these look like within the simulation. So even though the resolution doesn't affect vectors, and if I were to post this out and send it to my CNC machine, I would get exactly what is shown on the screen here in red. So these are the toolpaths. So it would be a perfect circle and a perfect rectangle. But if I go to simulate it, because I've got a really low resolution model and the simulation uses the 3D to generate, it will give me jagged edges. So if I right click on that and just simulate it, you can see that the rectangle is okay. The reason being is that they're all straight lines, but the circle is really, really bad. So if you ever get this, don't worry about it. All that it means is that the simulation is using a lower resolution. It's not actually going to cut like this, all these jagged lines. Okay. Now, if I were to delete the simulation, turn on the vectors again, and then change the resolution, you'll see the difference. So now, if I simulate this, you can see it gives me a much nicer finish. Now, as I said, even if I hadn't changed this and I just sent this to the CNC, it wouldn't make any difference. It's just for visualization. Okay? So that's how resolution affects your models within Carveco Maker.